Hello everyone, this is JBJ, and this video is for all those out there who want to get started making iPhone and iPad apps. I'll be going through a series of steps on how you can get started because it can seem very confusing when you're starting out. I mean, there's all these books and there's all these tutorials, there's all these websites with all different kinds of information. It's impossible to navigate as a beginner. So I'm hoping that you can use this video as a starting point and then work your way through these waters and eventually get to making your own iPhone and iPad applications. Now, I'm going to be assuming you've never programmed before, or maybe you've programmed a little, but you haven't ever programmed for the iOS devices. You have the desire to make iOS apps, well, that goes without saying. You're willing to spend a lot of time, and especially if you haven't programmed before, because the first programming language you learn is the hardest one. There's a lot of terms that seem vague, or maybe you just can't wrap your head around it, but you'll get there, and you're willing to read books. Some people might disagree with this because some people think that, well, books they get outdated really fast, and you need to read guides on the internet because they are posted more frequently, and though they are they are up to date. But I kind of disagree, because I think that books are written by professionals and they've spent a lot of time making those books, whereas a lot of the guides you read on the internet can be made by everyone, and that's not a bad thing, because I use those guides all the time. I mean, I even make it myself. But I think when you are starting out, you need a book, because a lot of the tutorials are not going to assume that you're a newbie, but the books will take you from A to B in one book, and that's very good when you're starting out. And then when you've begun reading the books and you're maybe halfway through, then you get to a topic, you don't understand the topic, then you can search for help. Now, I'm going to be pointing out 3 books that I think are excellent. And the first one is the book by Steve Kochan. Whoops. Okay, sorry, I spelled his name wrong. It's Steven with a PH. Alright, well, we're just going to call him Kochan. And he's made a book called Programming in Objective-C. Now, this book is excellent if you've never programmed before, because it assumes that you've never, ever written a line of code in your entire life. It doesn't assume that you know C or any other language. So if you've never programmed before, this is the book I'd take. It's a bit long, but it's very, very well written. There's also this one. It's called Big Nerd Ranch, and they've made an Objective-C programming book as well. It's a lot smaller, but it kind of assumes that you know a little bit about programming. You don't have to, but I'd say if you're a beginner, take the book by Steven with a PH, not a V. Take that one, and if you had a bit of experience, then you can try this one. But if you try this one and you think, well, it's a bit too hard, then go back and take the other one, because this is shorter and can be read a lot faster than the other one. Some might like it, some might not. But these are the 2 best starting points I see out there, these 2 books. There's a lot of other books on Objective-C. And Objective-C, that's, by the way, the language you need to learn in order to make applications for the iPhone and the iPad. So I would pick one of these 2 books, and if you're a beginner, the first one, and if you've known a bit, then this one. After you read those books, you have some experience with Objective-C, you've tried it out a bit, and, well, you think you're starting to get the hang of it. Then I would move on to this one. This is also written by the Big Nerd Ranch, and this is the iOS programming book. Now, this book assumes that you know Objective-C. It spends the first 2 or 3 chapters talking about Objective-C, and even though you know Objective-C, I would still go through those chapters because it's good exercise anyways. But this book will get you started making apps. The other two books will learn you the language, and this will actually make the application so you can start to see things happening. It's a fairly large book, but it covers a lot of ground, and it's an excellent book, very well written. So that's probably the path I would take. Learn Objective-C by one of the two books, and then move on to iOS programming with this book. Now, when you're learning through books, and especially when you're learning Objective-C, you might feel like you're getting nowhere. I mean, you can't understand that you can ever make this work as anything, because you feel you're just punching in lines of code, you don't understand it, you feel like you've not learned anything. That, at least that's how I felt. But I assure you, one day it will all just pop up. I mean, when you start making your first application, you can see that you're using the language in all sorts of ways you didn't think you could. So my best advice to you is really to pick up one of those books and just keep on going. And well, that's actually how to read and learn. I talked a little bit about it before, but basically type in everything. When the book makes a lot of code examples, you type in every single line of code. You set yourself goals, like maybe I'll read 10 pages a day or 5 pages a day. It doesn't have to be much, but just set yourself goals so you can read a little bit every day or every other day, because it makes the learning go more smooth. And don't set yourself goals that you can't achieve, because then you'll feel like you're failing. Set yourself goals that you know you can achieve, and you can maybe do a bit more. That's how I got through it, and I think that's a good advice. And obviously, keep going. Well, what now? Well, go buy the books. Start learning. Make your applications. Make the applications that you dream about. Make your wishes come true. I mean, make things that you can show to your friends, your family, to the whole world. I mean, making apps is great, and the development environment is great. There's a lot of nice people, and it's really awesome. It really is. And the App Store is great as well, because you can publish your applications without doing too much marketing, and you can make it available to the entire world. So really, if you thought about getting into this, well, get into it. It takes some time. Yeah, sure, it takes quite some time, all depending on which kind of person you are, but really, go and try it. And as a final note, if you're getting started, I have just made a forum, and this is actually why I made this video. I'm working as a lead programmer on a project called Angry Teds, and on our sites we've made a forum, and there's a section on that forum dedicated to programming. So if you want to learn, if you have any questions, then go ahead and post them on the forum. There's a link in the description. Post anything on your mind. It could be about programming. There's a certain topic you don't understand. Well, maybe you want some advice on how to get on maybe some other books you might want to try, or you feel you're stuck, or just something you don't know the concept of objects. Go ahead, post it, and I will answer them personally. And I think that's about it. So I hope you could use the video, and I hope to see one of your apps in the App Store. And again, if you ever make an app, post it on my forum. I would love to see it. Alright, that's it for today, guys. Have a nice day, and Merry Christmas.